Welcome to Moto Rambling. Hey guys, another video. This was done on April 14th, 2020. And it's after I had made a video where I said I really wasn't going to do any riding. But I've been working, as an essential employee, been out there every day, and, everything is about the pandemic. It's all day long, every day. And it was such a beautiful day on this date that I decided I'm going to go for a ride. I looked it up. It's not against the law. It's one of the things in North Carolina that outdoor activities are allowed as long as you keep your social distance. And part of the reason of that is so that people don't get this cabin fever and they don't start getting stir crazy. It's a psychological thing. And I was kind of thinking, well, what's that all about? But after dealing with the pandemic, from the time I wake up and go to work and they talk about it in the morning and all the safety things that we need to do to try to keep ourselves safe, then when I'm out there all day delivering the mail, talking to people, and everything I do is trying to keep myself and others safe. And then I come home and it's on the news. It gets overwhelming after a little bit, and I thought, I need my helmet time. Now, even in the best of times, I love getting on the bike, getting my helmet time, and it helps relax me and kind of put me in a good mood. And so I decided I was going to do that now. And I don't have any regrets. It is perfectly legal, and it was great social distance. I was by myself. I didn't talk to anybody. I stopped a couple of times, but I was just doing camera work, drone footage. So I feel good about that. Now there is, again, I spoke about this in the last video, link here, where I said something about, well, I don't want to ride because what if something were to happen and I need help? And that's still in the back of my mind, and I was taking it easy, wasn't pushing, just kind of a slow, relaxed ride. Anything can happen anytime. If we were having our hospitals overrun the way New York and some of these other hot spots are, it might be a little different. But right now, we don't have that here in Western North Carolina. I believe that if anything were to happen, I'm not going to take space away from somebody else who might be sick with the COVID. That being said, I went for a ride. I enjoyed it. I had my helmet time. I got to do my video work. I'm making a video now and editing it. And all that is stuff that's away from the pandemic. As I mentioned, it's very stressful going to work every day and having to listen to it and deal with it on a daily basis all day long. Masks and gloves and, lots of hand sanitizer and keeping as safe as possible. This is all just part of the new reality, and it could last quite a long time. We'll see what happens with that. But along the lines of the memories, I also want to completely off the subject of COVID. I'm making these videos, this one and all the other ones I'm mainly making them for myself when I get older. I want to be able to look back and say, oh, I remember that. I also would like for, friends and family, especially my son, to be able to watch it someday, when probably not until I'm gone or close to it will he end up watching a lot of this. And hopefully he'll kind of get a sense of, what I'm into at the moment and what I like doing. And so I'm trying to create a moment in time that I can look back at from the future back to this point. And a lot of the reason for that is because I don't have that kind of thing with my dad. He died about 7.5 years ago now. And it's very funny because he loved motorcycles. He had them most of my life, but I was never really interested in them. I had a mini bike when I was a kid, and that was it. Until my early 20s, he had a brand new Honda Shadow, and I had gone to visit him. I got married at that point, and our relationship had started to mend a little bit from the father-son disciplinarian to a little bit more of adult versus adult. And I went and visited him. He had this brand new Honda Shadow. Oh, beautiful bike. And I said that to him, and he said, well, why don't you take it for a ride? You know, and I look back on it now, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe that was his attempt to try to get me interested in motorcycling so that could be something we could share. I took it for a ride, didn't know what the heck I was doing. I sat on it, and I even asked him, I said, well, how do you shift? Where's first? How do you shift from first to second? Which he groaned a little bit, but he let me off, and away I went. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, of course, I wasn't very good at it. It took me forever to get the thing turned around, even though it was on a wide area, you know, probably wider than this garage, and I couldn't hardly get the thing turned around without getting off the bike. But, you know, he lived in New Hampshire, I lived in Massachusetts. I went home and back to my life, back to my job, you know, new family, you know, new wife and home, and, you know, trying to build something. Bought a motorcycle, rode it around Massachusetts all the time, but riding it to New Hampshire was just way too long of a ride. Kick myself now for that. He had motorcycles at the same time even. We never rode together. And I got real sick, went through the whole divorce and everything, and nearly died. When I was getting out of it, I had a Goldwing. I think mine was an 85. My dad had an 84 Goldwing. And post-surgeries, he's said to me, we need to go for a ride. Well, I was staying with them, Mom and Dad, at that point because, you know, like I said, you know, the divorce and losing everything, and I was still recovering from the surgery. And so got the Goldwings, and we took off from New Hampshire to Maine to a hunting cabin. And it was just one day up and one day back. And we spent the night there at the cabin. And I look back on it now, and it was a type of moto camping. I mean, the cabin was basically just camping. It just happened to have real walls and a real roof. Say that 5 times real fast. And it was great. We had a great time, and I have great memories of that, although no video. I mean, back then, there was nothing like these GoPros or anything like that. And so that was it. That was the one and only trip we did. I recovered, went back to Massachusetts, went back to work, tried to get myself healthy, moved to North Carolina. Dad got hurt at work, couldn't ride anymore after that, and then he got sick, couldn't ride because he was sick. We never once rode together again. But I look back on it now, and I'm thinking, you know, he had the same interest that I do now. This whole motorcycling and doing things on the motorcycle. And I think about it, if I had been into the motorcycles as much then as I am now, I think we probably would have done a lot together, a lot of riding together. And it kills me that I missed that opportunity. If you have that opportunity, make it happen somehow, some way. You know, your life that you're leading right now will keep going. Take a moment, go do something with, you know, that loved one. You know, spend some time, learn things about each other that you don't know, you don't even know. I wish I had that, and I will forever regret that I was not able to do that with him. I'm hoping that I can convince my son to maybe pause in his growing and becoming a man just enough to be able to do some of this stuff with me before I get too old. You know, we'll see what happens. These videos are in case it doesn't happen. These videos are for, you know, him to look at in the future and say, I kind of wish I'd done that. Look at him. He had a blast. You know, we'll see how that all works out in the end. But on a more immediate basis, this is 209. It's one of my favorite roads to ride. It's close. Before I started riding with people, and I just had the bike by myself, and my son had a little dirt bike, which is why I bought a bike, blah, blah, blah. You know, I rode alone a lot, and that was a great loop that I could do in a short amount of time, had all the super twisties, and it was just a nice circle from home, out and around, back through Hot Springs, and back to home, and I got to do, you know, highway riding on 2570. I got to do the super good twisties on 209. I got to go up in elevation on 63, going up over Dog Up Mountain. I had a blast. And of course I did a lot, so it got to be more and more fun. And now, social distancing and wanting to ride now and then and get my helmet time, it's just a great relaxing ride for me. And so I took the big bike out on it. You know, I haven't done that in a while, and you know, I was just having some fun with it. Wasn't pushing too hard. Again, don't want to, you know, take too many risks at this point. Stopped and put the drone up. Definitely got to put the drone up again where I stopped and get some better footage. Now that I've watched back the drone footage on this video, I see some stuff I want to do with the drone that I think would be a little bit better. And eventually I'll get out there and do that. Pretty much that's it. It's just all I put in this video was the part of 209 when I was coming back toward home. You know, just some riding. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the memories, both past memories that I have and don't have documentation of, and future memories that I hopefully will have a lot of documentation of. And so that's pretty much it. Everybody please stay safe and make some memories.